G'day lovelies, today's video is about what I will not do in order to lose weight, and I have in excess of about 40 kilos to lose, so these are some of the things I'm simply not prepared to try. G'day, welcome to For the Love of Sorted Body channel. If you are new here, my name is Mel and I'm on a mission to get sorted in my home, heart, body and soul, and this channel focuses on the third pillar called body. I am determined to develop a healthier relationship with food and potentially, hopefully, lose some weight, or at least learn to love my body for what it is. I'm a mum of 4. So I've given birth 4 times, and I also live with anxiety and depression. I'm not diagnosed with an eating disorder, however I relate to a lot of the symptoms, and I definitely turn to food for comfort or reassurance or just out of habit. So I, and want to use this channel to kind of document my journey on getting sorted in that area. The body category also incorporates anxiety or like mental health struggles and taking care of my personal physical appearance as well, so hair and nails and skin. So it will have all of those kind of body related topics on this channel. Now, if you know me from my other channels, then yay, thank you for being here. As promised, here is my cat's gone crazy body video, and yeah, let's just get right into it. Now I want to preface this by saying that no shade to anyone who has or intends to use any of these strategies in order to lose weight. You do you, I'll do me. I have lots of reasons around why I'm choosing not to follow these ideas. I'll discuss them, but I really want to be clear in that I mean no disrespect to anyone who chooses those ways. The important thing is to do what feels right for you and for your body. Yeah, so with that being said, so the number one thing I am not prepared to do, no way, no how, and mostly because I've done this far too many times, and that is to go on to a restrictive diet. So I'm not prepared to cut out any kind of food group. I'm not going any type of keto or paleo or high carb, low fat, any of those things where there is a restriction on food groups. Simply not prepared to do that. And that is because I become obsessive about it, and if I obsess, and I think that this is part of why I think I have an eating disorder, is I will, like I said, obsess about that particular food group that I can't have, and so that really does a lot of damage to me psychologically, but also ultimately when I fall off the wagon, I binge on those foods that I've restricted, and so therefore undo any good that potentially that diet might have done. So that is the number one thing I am simply not prepared to do to lose weight. The second thing that I'm not prepared to do to lose weight is have weight loss surgery. I've given birth 4 times. Quite frankly, I'm terrified of any kind of medical intervention that is not necessary. Obviously, if I had a doctor say, look, this is your only option, this is what you have to do, then I would go there, but I don't feel that the stress and the anxiety that I would feel in the lead up to and potentially afterwards would be worth it for me. I would much rather learn to accept my body for the size that it is and maybe live a lifestyle that is like someone who has had surgery. But ultimately, I'm just at this stage in my life not prepared to go under any kind of anesthetic or surgery. Definitely not totally out. I've never had, even when I gave birth, I did have a pethidine shot with my first one. That was when they allowed you to do that. And I had some gas then as well, but other than that I had no kind of pain relief or anything like that when I gave birth. Definitely not an epidural. That scared the bejesus out of me, apparently more so than giving birth naturally. So yeah, I've been very lucky in that regard that I was able to give birth without a lot of medical intervention, but at the same time, a lot of that was just pure fear on my behalf. So again, no shade to anyone who had to go another route. That's just like each to their own and means nothing in the grand scheme of things. But in order to be true to myself, then these are the things that I'm just not prepared to do. The third thing that I'm not prepared to do is to go on to another diet plan in terms of like I've been a part of the 12-week body transformation with Michelle Bridges, who is an Australian trainer. I'm not prepared to do any of those kind of lifestyle Weight Watchers again, or anything like that. I'm just not prepared to do anything where it's very structured and where there's an element of failure if you don't keep up with what you're set to do. Now, to be fair and to be super clear, I've had some great success on the Michelle Bridges 12-week body transformation. Between my second and third child, I lost over 25 kilos and I was feeling fantastic. However, I became obsessive with exercise. Like, it was not unusual for me to go to the gym sometimes twice a day, and that would be after walking for an hour. So yeah, I do tend to get into these kind of obsessive, over the top, unsustainable lifestyle choices when I'm in a program or something like that, because I can either go all or nothing. Like, there's no in between for me, there's no balance. So setting myself up to fail on those particular programs is not something that I'm prepared to do again. Ultimately, I want to learn to develop my own balance and to develop a lifestyle that's sustainable to my real life living and to me personally. A lot of those lifestyles or a lot of those programs are relevant to a certain subtype or a certain location of people, or people who have certain resources or don't. And so I want to just keep it within me, if that makes sense. Another thing that I'm not prepared to do is do restrictive time eating. Again, I've done that. There's nothing wrong with that. That works because of, you know, less calories being consumed in a 24-hour period. However, I again became obsessive about that, and again just became very, very particular, put a lot of value on it. Like, if my eating window was between 11 and 7 and I ate at 10:55, the guilt trip I sent myself on undid any good anything. And also I found that I would binge in those 6 hours, like, because I'd already fasted. So again, I can't do, for me, I cannot do those restrictive time limits or foods or anything like that, because it's all or nothing for me. And that's something that's taken me a very long time to learn. And again, no shade to anyone who chooses to go that way, because if it works for you, that's fine. But personally, psychologically, I can't do that. It's just, it would do me more harm than good. Even if I lost all of the weight that I possibly had to lose, I feel like it just would not be sustainable for me, and it would do a lot of psychological damage to me. So having said, you know, the 3 major things that I'm not prepared to do, I will share some of the things I am looking at doing. I am very much about learning my calorie deficit, and that is some of what I'll be sharing in the upcoming weeks. So obviously, you know, you've heard it all before. It's a simple equation. You burn more calories and eat less food, eat less calories, burn more calories, and you will naturally lose weight. Some of the things that I am prepared to do is obviously calorie deficit diet, but I'm going to be doing that in a really different way. I'm going to be playing around with different calories and finding out what works for me and my physical lifestyle. I've tried to do them before. However, I obviously went on a calculator that was entirely unrelated to me and my activity levels and my lifestyle. The cat's gone crazy. So yeah, I'm prepared to do that, but at the same time, I'm not going to be like, I'm only allowed to eat 1,500 calories, which is really low, mind you. you know, again, it's not going to be restrictive, but it's going to be experimental. So my new mantra is I wonder, and I wonder what will happen if I do this, and I wonder how this will affect my body or my mental health if I do this. One thing that I have learnt that has really worked for me, if you remember I said about I loved exercising between my second and third child. I absolutely lived for going to the gym. I loved every second I could go. It was fantastic. And lifestyle wise, that's just not an option. Financially, I can't do that. My husband does a lot of shift work. There's 2 extra kids now, so it's just the reality. It's not a possibility. So I did buy a treadmill. It's just a really cheap, does not do incline or anything like that, but I get on that at least 4 or 5 times a week, sometimes up to 6 or 7 times a week for 30 minutes minimum as soon as I wake up, and that has made a massive impact on my mental health. So I've found that it's not so much the exercise so much as that first tick of the day in terms of having achieved something for myself. Obviously when I'm on the treadmill, it's entirely for me. So walking outside would be an option if my husband was not a shift worker so frequently. Yeah, and the weather and all of that sort of stuff. So the treadmill kind of takes away the overthought in that. Is I simply get up, I get dressed, I've set myself up with my clothes all ready for a week, and I just get on that and I do 30 minutes. And if I'm not doing a treadmill, I've just started to implement some weightlifting, or not, well, like body weight lifting, Pilates and things like that, in an effort to maybe burn more calories through weights. But the treadmill was for my mental health, for saying, did that. Something else that I'm prepared to do is order in a meal plan subscription box, if only to kind of get into the habit of eating meals at home. I'm in a really bad cycle at the moment where I tend to buy lunch out, or we have dinner out, or something like that. I find that I'm more hungry in the middle of the day, so I'm just trying to listen to my body cues and recognizing when I'm hungry, because that's something that's true for me. I don't actually know when I'm hungry until I'm like fully stuffed and can't move and feel yuck afterwards. I don't pay a lot of attention to how I feel, so working on that is definitely part of the body transformation, if you will. So that is something that I am prepared to do. Something else that I've been really conscious of is not only my consumption of food and my movement and things like that, but also my consumption of where I'm getting my information from. So I'll make a point to follow nutritionists, certified nutritionists, actual body coaches who have a body positive perspective on weight and health. I will link in the description a couple of YouTubers that I really enjoy watching and I get a lot of information from. I take it or leave it in terms of what doesn't feel right for me, so it's a lot of self-awareness. There's also a couple of Instagrammers that I like to follow. They're both UK Instagrammers, and I really enjoy them. And I also highly recommend, if you're on a similar journey, to read Just Eat It by Laura Thompson. Fantastic book. Will challenge a lot of the diet culture perspectives and views, and also the good diet. So that is a really good one as well. The first one is very medically based, very and not in a boring way, but in a factual way. And the Effort Diet is about, I guess, a more personal journey, but definitely has a lot of insight into true health and the damage that diet culture can do. So that is the next body installment. You will see in the upcoming videos on all of my channels different efforts that I take in taking care of my physical and mental well-being. I'm aiming to upload at least once a month on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell button, because it's going to be sporadic for a time. But I hope that by sharing my journey, I might inspire and encourage and motivate you to live a healthier lifestyle, develop a healthier relationship with food, and learn to love your body however it is. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I shall chat with you in the comments down below, and have a great day. Cheers.